Hi guys, let's make another video how to install ArcoNet. So the usage of ArcoNet has been explained in several videos already. There we go. We boot up. Make sure, well, the system knows, hey, there's an ISO for it. So I need to go to this one and then boot CD-ROM. So this is what you see. You burn the ISO on a USB. Linux Mint application is used in our case. It's called MintStick. It's been there for long before ArcoLinux existed, so on Linux Mint. I've used it for years. It's reliable. You got these two big choices. That's the kernel, right? The Linux kernel is taking a look at your hardware and it either gets it or it doesn't. So the Zen kernel sees more or different things than the Linux kernel, and you choose. Then we got these three lines, which is the AMD Intel thing, that's line 1, and all the VirtualBox things, anything virtual, right? NVIDIA for the guys who have NVIDIA, and if none of the above works, right, then you go for no mode set. This would be my line for VirtualBox, VMware, QEMU, and all the others, right? There are many virtual, well, sandboxes I like to call them, because you stay inside a window. The operating system is installed actually in a file. But it's not the same feeling. You are dividing your hardware into two, or maybe less, but 50-50 is a good common sense reasoning, CPU cores and memory and all that. I think I must have over 100 videos about VirtualBox, what the settings should be, could be. All right, there we are. We're not talking about the easy installation. Easy installation is this. You'll get this, right? What you see is what you get. You get this, except ArcoLinux installer and calamares is gone. The advanced installation, if you forgot, this is the view, the principles of the three ISOs. They're here, but we're gonna remove XFCE4. Whatever you do, we're gonna remove it. So if you forget to select a desktop, you won't have a desktop, which is okay. Maybe you'd like that because sudo pacman -s XFCE4 and XFCE4 goodies, right? You got everything again, right? You have a desktop, or Mate or Plasma. It's just typing a few commands and you have a desktop. That's the fun in Arch. Next, we have two kernels. Why would we like to have more? Maybe you can have a look at ArchWiki microcode and see if you like Intel or AMD, but try without and then try with and compare. Next, extra drivers, normally not needed, but sometimes well, it can be that you need it. So have a look. They're not installed, these guys, so you can install them extra. If you learned already, I need that package. Okay, fine. So SDM, it's already there, so nothing to do here. So here's the choice, right? We have not gone, or we cannot go actually into this in VirtualBox. This is always real metal, only real metal. So we stick to X11 and we're going down the list. And I believe we are on this one. So a video about Fvwm3 desktop, and go for next, and we're going down the list. So basically XFCE4 and XFCE4 goodies is gone. So this is gone. It's being replaced actually by bits and pieces of, yeah, you guessed it, XFCE4, right? There are all the choices. See all these packages as Lego pieces or as pieces of a puzzle. You can use Mate applications for it, right? It's still, it's a choice. So that's that. So make sure that this is selected, otherwise we end up without a desktop, right? Select it, and then next. But you can deselect one of these packages. That was what I was going to say. And then, yeah, lots of apps that are all free. They're either working or not, right? It's a free software world. We can not be responsible for all these apps that are coming from all kinds of places in the world, but we can try. And then erase disk, ext4, sure, no swap, all good for me. And then there we go, installing stuff. Everything is removed. I don't dual boot anything, right? Let the machine take control over the computer and use a different computer for Windows, for example. Windows, keep it separate from Linux. The other solution for next time around, right, when you buy your next computer, you ask, there we are, the second one. Then you ask, Eric told something about a bay for SSD. That's wrong, SSD, but it's working already, I see in the back end. How to mount an SSD bay in your desktop. Maybe we should have a quick look. So this video is me going outdoors, except all, sure, right, this is not me. Sorry for the publicity, even if it is nice. Let's skip it. So this is me, no thanks, right? This is me making a video about this thing, a tray. Let's pause here. So it's a tray that you can put inside the desktop, one SSD, second SSD. This slides to the left or the right and it pops open. The tray just jumps open and you have the SSD in your hand. Windows comes out, that was work, put it on the shelf, you put another SSD in, you put Linux on it, Linux 1, let's call it like that, Linux 1, yeah, you install it, you do exactly what I do now, all right, in calamares, then you pop it out again, and you just take another SSD, Linux 2, Linux 3, all right, so I have, you have a choice, and it's easy, it can't be, you can't mix it, you can't break Windows because of you making a mistake and dual boot and Windows taking control over the bootloader and Linux is gone and all misery and frustration. This is the way to go. It's easy for desktops. I suppose there's something also for laptops, but that's up to you to figure it out. This is just an idea from me to you guys. Maybe you can have something similar. Okay, so this is all right. And then we have a look what we can install here. We have to wait for the video, well, the installation to finish. At this point in time, we're doing an rsync, and rsync is this. Where are you? Here he is. When I say what you see is what you get, it is really is this bit of till 50%, I think, more or less. This bit is a image that is compressed, squashed, that's now unsquashed, and it's then synced to your computer. This is really every file in every folder, and this is the number of files that's going to be extracted. And then later on, we're gonna do the removal. XFCE4 and XFCE4 goodies are gone. So calamares is always, every calamares, right? Any Linux installation where you see calamares, it will put over, it would copy over an image, and the image is what you see, right? It will copy paste this over, but it will not remove anything unless we tell it to. And one of the things, of course, that needs to be removed is the installer, so calamares. But the rest we just keep, otherwise we would not put it on there, right? We've made a choice to put it on the ISO. If we do not put it on the ISO, well, it won't be installed. Get me? So removal is not done here for calamares. It's always adding things. You can add all these applications, all these tabs, all these pages you just saw. You can add more and more and more and more. But what you see you will always get, except one thing: calamares, that's the installer, and of course also XFC4 and XFC4 goodies, it's gone. It's completely gone. And then later on we get some bits and pieces of XFC, like Thunar, for example. All right, so that's interesting to know, and maybe you get more into the spirit of how calamares works, because of course this matters, since calamares, and we know, and the public of the Linux guys, we are distro hoppers. We look around and you'll find calamares in other Linux distributions, and you realize it's all the same tool. It's a Swiss Army knife to install Linux on your system, but it's the same reasoning, the same procedure, and same process. And yes, we all have these specific scripts that we use to make sure that everything works, but in the end, right, it's all the same calamares installation tool. So we're going to remove NVIDIA because we did not select NVIDIA, right? We did not select it. We selected the line number 1, so it's gone. And these are the packages that will be removed. Since I don't want NVIDIA, because I don't have NVIDIA, because I did not select NVIDIA in the beginning, it will be removed. So there is a little bit of programming in it, but very few, right? Here is XFC being removed, minus, 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 right? It's going to be uninstalled, removing, removing, removing. So it's going down a list of things to do, and here we're going to install, I think update, this is an update. Yep, here he is, SU. And the longer, the older the ISO is, the more you need to download, the more there can be conflicts in Pacman, because Pacman is actually working, not calamares. And if there are conflicts, you'll get an error and say, okay. Then you keep the link, have a look at the error. There's this URL link that you have, and then you can investigate why keys, conflicting packages, can be all kind of things. But it's not a calamares problem, right? It's a Pacman problem. So this is Fvwm3, Super C by Conky, and then Ctrl-Alt-T, for example, or a Super Shift Enter, and a Super X, and a Super D, and a Super Shift D, better. Super D does nothing. And we have our system, escape, left click, choose what you want to have, choose one of the menus, right. Refresh, restart, and quit. Voila, this is Fvwm3 shutting down. Cheers.